Welcome back to another live stream, guys. Today we're going to be making some new designs. I'm just showing you some different techniques that you can use in Adobe Illustrator and just give you some tips and tricks as well about designing in Illustrator. And then we're going to jump over to our Spreadshop and just show you how to create dual-sided designs in case that's something you've been looking to do. So it's a bit of a design tutorial today and a design follow along with a little synopsis about how to actually create dual-sided designs in your Spreadshop. So this is something you're interested in, just chill out, grab some coffee with me today and follow along as I kind of get more into creating repeating text designs. So it's something you probably have seen quite often, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to do live here. So we're going to start with some just text here. And so I have a list of fonts and some colors that I've been using throughout my different lives here on the left-hand side. And so I'm going to start with some of those. I think I'm going to use, let's use this font here. We're going to start with a relatively simple font. I'm going to go with create here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create just some text that we want to use. So the most common saying I know I see with this particular design, because it's kind of a trippy looking design, is we're going to use the word dope. And then from there, we're going to take that and change it to one of my colors on the left-hand side here. So let's go ahead and just change that one to yellow. And then we're going to create another one. And that's just Option drag if you want to duplicate an object. And we're going to create another color here real quick. And we're going to do one more. So we have 3 colors with that font. So that's the beginning of what we're trying to do. So you're going to kind of see what I'm talking about here in just a moment. It's probably something you see quite often throughout a lot of different design t-shirt companies and things like that use a similar style of this. So I'm just going to show you how easy you can do it yourself. So I'm going to take these 3. And generally when I start working and actually start designing in Illustrator, what I'll try to do is I'll put my text-based fonts to the left-hand side here. And so I'll drag those to the left, and then I'll create these into actual outlines. It just makes it easier to work with when you're working in Illustrator. So I'm going to convert those to outlines. The shortcut for that is Command-Shift-O. So we converted those 3. And the next thing I want to do is I want to make sure the spacing of this text is about what I would expect. So probably like about the size of what I would expect to see on a t-shirt is about there. So I'm going to get the spacing just right. So I'm going to use my Pathfinder tool real quick just to space those out perfectly. So with those 3. And so now I'm going to get into showing you just how easy it is to create like that repeating text pattern you've seen on a lot of different t-shirts. And then we're going to make some small tweaks to kind of make it a little more personalized. So all we're going to do is we're going to select all 3 of those objects. So if you select all 3 of those objects, we're going to go up to Object, and again, just reminder, we're working in Adobe Illustrator today. There are other programs you can follow along with if you're looking to still work in another vector program. If you don't have Illustrator, feel free to download Inkscape, and you can follow along with that, and that's a free vector-based program. But like I said, go up to Object, and we're going to go down to Blend, and we're going to go to Make. And what the blend tool is it will actually fill in those spots in between the objects you select. And we'll show you just how cool that can be in a moment. So it's not only is it giving us the transition of the spacing, it's also giving us the transition of the colors between those objects we created. So that's the beginning of what we're trying to go for. But we want to make some additional tweaks to that to actually really get that repeated design look. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to Object, go back down to Blend, go to the Blend Options here. And I want to go to specific steps, and we're going to turn that up quite a bit. So let's try like start with a higher number here. So before we do that, let's add a stroke to these real quick. So we're just add a small stroke to all 3 of those, and then go back up to Object, Blend, Blend Options. And again, it's the steps. And like I said, we're going to add quite a bit of repeat. Starting to look pretty close to what we want. Let's just go up real high too. It's probably somewhere in between there. So we're going to go 15. And then the next thing we're going to do is we want this text to be at the top. So we're going to go up to Object, Blend, and we're going to reverse the spine here. So it's a reverse front to back. And so we have our text at the very top here. And so now you're starting to see how you get that repetitive pattern the whole way down. And we can make really quick changes by using that blend tool. So if I want it to be a little bit more spaced out, we simply go back up to Object, Blend Options, and we can change this number down to quickly adjust those steps so we can actually see more of the font repeating down that object. So that's looking pretty good there. So I'm gonna hit OK. So not only do I have this transition of color here, which looks really cool, I have that repeating pattern that we're going to start working with for any type of t-shirt design that has this kind of style and look with that kind of repeating text pattern. And so I'm going to add some personalizations to this now, and I'll show you exactly just how to do that. So I like how this is kind of streaming down through the t-shirt right now. And I can actually technically end right now and make this the design, but I want to add a few more tweaks to really make this more personable. So what I want to do, since this kind of already has the illusion of kind of like depth with it coming down, I want to kind of just play off of that a little bit more. So I'm going to select my design again. I'm going to go up to Effect. We're going to go to Warp. I'm going to go to Arc. And so if you turn your bend in your arc down to 0 and turn your vertical up, you actually will get this nice smooth transition where it looks like your text is kind of fading into infinity here, which is what we're trying to go for. So we're trying to just get that slight bend, so maybe just a little less of it kind of fading down into like the background. We could even add a little slant to it if we wanted. I'm going to hit OK. So that's starting to give us that look that we want, where it's kind of fading out into infinity. And we can even adjust the spacing if we want to pull all of this in so the text is a little bit closer together. But I kind of like the way that's looking. We might move it up just a little bit here. So if we go up to Object, Blend, go to Release. And I'm going to move this text closer now. So let's go ahead and bump it up. And we're going to space those out evenly again real quick by using our Align tool. Oops. Looks good. Then we're going to go back up to Object. Make sure go back up to Object and go to Blend again and Make. And we're going to make the same adjustments we made before. So back up to Object, Blend Options, and we go back to steps here. Let's turn that back up again. So we probably need a little bit less since they're closer together now. top of my design here. And what we can do is then change the noise to the same color as the background so we can see exactly how that would look once it's punched out. So if I zoom in, you can kind of see how exactly that would look. So I actually think I want to make this part of the design a little bit bigger to fit that distress vector just a little bit more. There we go. So we kind of have that distressed look. And so to finalize this for like a print or a t-shirt, for example, I'm going to select the distressed vector and my image, and then I'm going to use the same object again. So I'm going to go up to the Pathfinder tool here and select merge. About that process. And then the reason we use the merge tool versus like something like the minus front is since this is a relatively complicated object, if we use the minus front, a lot of times it'll glitch. So usually a safe way to use that to get to the same point, we can use the merge object. And then there's one extra step where you're going to use the magic wand tool and go back and select your vector object and hit delete. And then we're just going to make sure there's no additional parts to that design, and again hit delete. And now we have a nice and clean punched out design here. We have one problem there, which is I'm kind of glad it happened because I can show you a solution. And so basically the color of this was too similar to the rest of the design. So let's pick a color that is nowhere in our design. So it's like pick a really bright red. And do the same thing again. We're going to select that object. We're going to go up to our Pathfinder tool, hit merge, let it process. Go to our magic wand tool again, select that, hit delete. And so all it was is the magic wand tool was finding colors that were similar to that vector, distress vector, and punching them out. So now we have our clean vector design, and just to show you that like on a transparent background real quick, you can kind of see how that's actually punched out there. And so we have our design pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and select that design. So we still have some things we got to clean up real quick. Okay. Good now. And I'm going to size that to about 15 inches. And I want to move my artboard in Illustrator on top of that so that I can save that file out. If you're doing that for the first time, go up to Object, go down to Artboards, and say Fit to Selected Art. And then we're going to export this. So I'm going to export as. We're going to use Artboards, and we want to save that. And let's save it. Let's save it to export. And you can either export that at 300 or 200 dpi. That's either one will work. I'm going to hit OK. And then we're going to move over to our actual Spreadshop now. So I'm going to switch over to that really quickly. Here's our Spreadshop. So I'm going to upload that new design I just made. Simply just drag it on. And then give that a moment to process, and we'll soon have our design uploaded. There it is. And so since I'm already at this point, I'm going to show you how to create a product with this design and when your actual Spreadshop. But I might as well, since I've talked about it earlier, show you how to actually create the dual-sided product. So you have two options when you're creating a dual-sided product. That means front and back of your actual t-shirt. Is you can go over here and upload the designs here and then select dual-sided. Or we can go over here and right below here where it says select dual-sided products, we can do that. And so let's select our most recent two designs, and we can add those so either the front or the back here. I'm going to add the dope design to the front real quick, and we'll put this one on the back here for this example. I'm going to hit apply. And then what it did was it grouped those two objects together right here. And so I'm going to go and select that, put that into a shop. I'm just going to pick a sample shop for now, and then it will automatically try to create the products for me, which is pretty cool. And I'll show you exactly what that looks like here. So if I go into each one of these products, I can edit each one of these products as well. So here's the back, here's the front with our actual design. It looks really cool. I like that. And we could also change the product colors here if we want like a darker color shirt, for example. We can do that here as well. We can even go something like medium. But I think I either like the white or like the darker colors here. So let's go ahead and go with that. And then on the back, see how it looks. We can adjust the size of this one too. Hit done. And then it's going to try to create the rest of the products for me automatically, which we'll go ahead and keep those as default for now. We can make adjustments just like we did to this one and change the colors and sizing of those designs on each one of those products. I'm going to hit next. We're going to name it. And then we're going to give it a description. Like I said, go into a little more detail on what I'm giving it here, but we're just trying to keep it short and sweet for this demo. Hit create. And then if we go into our actual shop here, and this is select a product. If we look at the front and the back, we have our dual-sided product now that we can offer in our shop versus just a one-sided print area. So it's that easy to create a dual-sided product in your Spreadshop, and that's how quickly we can make a design that looks pretty neat and kind of gives you that repeating text pattern that we were talking about earlier. And like I said, we made it kind of look like a kind of a skater type of look. We can also still do a single-sided design if we want. We can do stickers, which looks really neat with that design. And you can kind of see how that looks cool. And a lot of different colors. And we offer coffee cups, mugs, tote bags, all these different products you can actually place your design on as well. And so I know one of my favorite products is actually the fitted cotton poly t-shirt. So let's go ahead and add that really quickly. So let's check a color. I think I'm going to go with like a full black here. Hit done. And then we can edit the products we're actually offering. That looks pretty good. Hit next again. And then hit create. And then again, if we preview that in our actual shop here, we can go down to our sample shop. And now we have the single-sided and the dual-sided products here. So here's all the single-sided ones. And that will reflect in price as well. So that's something to keep in mind when making a dual-sided product, is that the price will go up the more printed objects you have on the design. So we select, for example, this hoodie here. See the price there, and that's the dual-sided product. And if we go back and select a similar product, we can see how much cheaper that is in just comparison with a single print area. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're creating your Spreadshop, is that it could affect the pricing. So while offering a dual-sided product is great, sometimes it's good to just keep in mind that it will increase your price a little bit. But yeah, guys, during any of these lives, feel free to ask any questions about anything that I'm doing, any of the designs I'm creating, or anything about Spreadshop. I'm doing my best to try to help you guys out. But hopefully that gave you some little bit of introspective about some of the cool things you can do with Illustrator to create some really unique designs, and just how easily you can upload those to your Spreadshop and create like a dual-sided product or a single-sided product using the design you created. So thanks for joining me again today, guys, and we'll see you again next time.